Welcome back to Season 2 of Snubs and Dubs, where we're talking about the snubs and dubs of the 87th Academy Award for Best Picture. I'm your host, Kyle Tobiasson, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Jason Miller. Jason, how you doing today?
Oh, just terrible. So awful. April Fools. We're recording this on April 1st. I'm doing great, Kyle. How are you?
I'm doing good, too. This is the first show we've done post the Oscars, but we have had some stuff go up about the Oscars, but we were right. That's all I gotta say. We were right.
Killed it. At one point, our version of guesses for the Oscars was 100% right.
At one point.
At one point. Well, kind of like if you mash two takes together.
Yeah.
We did. There was enough overlap that we had them all right.
Yeah.
But we ended up missing two on the final cut.
So a bit of a pat on the back, but you know.
Speaking of other pats on the back, we hit 1,000 Twitter followers.
Oh, yeah.
And I gotta say, hitting 1,000 followers is sure hard and my hand hurts. Will Smith hitting. that kind of hitting.
Keep my Twitter handles out of
your mouth. That's the last time I will ever reference that event because it's been covered. It's been saturated.
Oh, well, did you watch anything else this week other than the Oscars?
Well, here's the thing, Kyle. No, but.
Yes.
Last time we recorded, I had also said no, but I had watched a movie.
Oh?
I just forgot that I'd watched a movie.
Okay.
I had seen Turning Red.
Okay. I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
I was like, the previous episode, you said you were going to watch it, and then you didn't mention it. And then I thought about it briefly and then was like, well, you probably just didn't watch it.
No,
so anyways,
I did watch
what did you think?
It was good. It wasn't like my favorite movie ever, but I also obviously recognize that I'm not the target audience for the movie.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
It was made for, young women coming of age who can turn into giant pandas. That's sick as shit. That's an underrepresented demographic. But like overall, it's a sweet, wholesome movie. The animation's really fun.
Yeah.
It's a good visual fest. I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah.
I wasn't like gripped by the story, but that's fine. I'm glad it got made. It was good. That one time the dad spoke killed me. I loved it. He's just such a sweetheart. Just a little sweet. I want to hug him. I just want to hug him.
I like how they threw in a little bit of anime flavor into some of their expressions. I like when they're taking chances and going into like interesting artistic directions with their animation, because it is like so pristinely photorealistic at this point that like you got to add some flavor.
You have to stylize it.
Yeah.
You can't just try and make it look real, because now that's just, you probably can, and it's boring now.
Yeah, exactly. Which is another way that Mitchells and the Machines did really good too, which didn't win Best Animated Feature, but some people thought it might have. But
I do like that I didn't relate to everything that's going on, because that probably means it was accurate.
Yeah, probably.
Because, boy bands, probably huge. I don't really know, but good on them. Did you watch anything, Kyle?
Well, actually, we watched something together right after we recorded last episode.
Oh my God.
You're probably not remembering because
I forgot that one too.
It happened right after we left here, but we saw X.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What did you think of it?
It was fine.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like a good stylish horror movie, lower budget, fun, creative, fit into the grandparents be creepy kind of genre horror.
Yep.
And that was good. I liked it.
Yeah. I felt it was pretty inconsequential. There was no harm to it.
No.
It wasn't like breaking new ground per se, but it was doing well with the ground it was covering.
Exactly.
And so if you're looking for just kind of a fun evening type of horror movie, you can't go wrong with X.
Yeah. I will say there is one particular scene, not really a spoiler, where you can see the silhouette of Kid Cudi's penis.
Yes.
And that is a package Amazon can't ship overnight. That is, I don't know if that was a prosthetic for humor or if the man has more heat than the desert. But yeah, no, it was solid. I enjoyed it. It was nothing breathtaking. I'm probably going to forget about it.
Probably.
I already have, apparently. But it was good. I enjoyed my time.
Yeah, same. I did watch one more thing, and I will preface this by saying I did not enjoy my time.
Oh, no. I know what it is.
Last night, me and a friend of the show, Nick Lagore, we went to see Jared Leto's Morbius.
Oh, Jesus.
I wish I saw less, yes.
Kyle, got one question for you.
Yeah.
Why? Because you didn't think it was good going in.
No.
You can't tell me you thought there was a chance.
I never went in anticipating it would be good.
Mm-hmm.
I was just hoping that it would be bad enough that it was funny.
No.
But it wasn't even like bad enough that it was funny. It was just bad.
Because you know that Jared Leto, as bad as he is trying so hard.
That's the thing. He was trying. And like there was actually good moments from him, but it was like he wasn't the worst part of that movie. The worst part of that movie was just like the writing and just like the horrible plot that they tried to string and the post credits. What the fuck, dude? It's just
no, now I have to
awful.
go see it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna. You don't watch this movie. I'm just telling you right now. I will save you the trouble by telling you anything that's relevant about this movie that was in the post-credit scene. And so if you don't want to know, just skip ahead like a minute. But honestly, you're not missing much. But the post-credit scene was fucking wild. So we cut at the end and we see that rift from Spider-Man No Way Home in the sky, like the purpley rift. And we cut to a jail cell. Michael Keaton as Adrian Toomes is like flashing into the Morbius / I guess also Venom universe.
Oh, Jesus.
And he just like looks in his mirror and he's like, I hope the food's better in this joint. And then it cuts to more credits. And so we're like, okay, so is he just here now?
Yeah.
And so we cut to another post-credit scene. And sure enough, he's there now. And it's a big story that this random man has just beamed into a prison cell when in this universe, he did nothing wrong. So, you know, they're just going to let him go. And a couple seconds later, we see Jared Leto driving into the desert. And then here comes the Vulture in a suit, which first of all doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
Because in this universe, the Avengers didn't happen. And so there are no Chitauri tech to have built a new suit.
Yeah. What?
And so he just like managed to build an entirely new Vulture suit on his own without the alien technology.
But he only in the first place he never would have if he wasn't on superhero cleanup and had the tech there.
Yeah.
Also,
so firstly strange.
I just want to say, if you live in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and some dude gets beamed into jail, I'm assuming he's meant to be there. I'm not going to ask questions. You're messing with a lot by just freeing the guy. Like, now, don't get me wrong. Due process sounds great.
Yeah.
I'm making an assumption he should be there.
Yeah. Well, I guess they did a hearing and they let him go. So, but anyways, it's clear that he's not in this scene. Michael Keaton clearly voiced this over afterwards because you never see the Vulture take his mask off, and they cut between them in just like the weirdest like staging and framing. So clearly they're not even in the same room.
Oh my God.
They're just talking to like a wall or a camera, and Michael Keaton's basically like, "Hey, I've been, looking at what you've been doing. Maybe we should keep in touch and do some cool stuff." And Morbius is like, "Oh, I'm interested." But if you had watched the movie that I had seen, that makes no fucking sense, because he spends the entire movie basically saying, "Nah, mate, I ain't going to kill people. I ain't going to do bad shit. I just want to be a fucking doctor and cure people and help people." But now that he's like free and just, he doesn't have any conflict, and because a big flying man is here, he's like, "Oh yeah, maybe we'll join a group and do some shit." Nah, it's weird.
That sounds awful.
Horrible.
But you told me not to do it, and now I really want to do it.
Yeah, so
I'm not going to watch
it. The movie is not worth watching.
I hate Jared Leto so much.
Oh, well, but that is all that I watched this week, because I've been absolutely giving all my time to fucking Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, or I forget what the title is. I've literally not even looked at it. I've just been playing it. But,
Kirby and the Forgotten Title.
Yeah. But that has been hella fun. Okay.
Dive in.
Of course, season 2 of Snubs and Dubs is covering the films from the year 2014. And for episode 9, we are talking about Foxcatcher. Had you seen this one before?
No, I have not seen this one before. I think I very briefly maybe heard a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Going in, I knew Steve Carell was in it, and I was right. And I didn't know anything else about that. How about you?
I had seen it, but it was one of those where when I was really into watching all the Academy Award nominated movies in 2014, This one was on my radar, but I just never hit it because it wasn't nominated for Best Picture.
Nope.
But it was nominated in other places. And so I just kind of left it for a while. And I think a couple of years ago, I finally did watch it. And, well, this will get into a little bit later. I never thought I was going to watch this again. Yeah. Well, if you were interested in Foxcatcher, I've included the links to the physical media related to it in the show notes. If you buy through that link, it'll help out our show. Or if you have any other Amazon shopping to do, follow the general link to help out our show in the process. A reminder that this is going to be a spoiler-filled conversation. So if you haven't seen Foxcatcher yet and you want to, go ahead and do so. But without further ado, let's get into it.
Foxcatcher is directed by Bennett Miller and written by E. Max Fry and Dan Futterman. It is starring Steve Carell as John du Pont, Channing Tatum as Mark Schultz, Mark Ruffalo as Dave Schultz, Vanessa Redgrave as Jean du Pont, and Sienna Miller as Nancy Schultz. It has a runtime of 134 minutes and was released on November 14th, 2014. What did you think of the film?
You know, it's not bad, but I just don't have much love for it.
Oh God, it's so slow.
Yeah.
Oh dear sweet Lord above. This is a slow burning movie.
It is. And I like the director's other movies. And so I was anticipating liking this because he also directed Moneyball and Capote, which are two really good movies, especially Moneyball.
Oh, Moneyball's money.
Yeah. And so like this was good. Like, and it had some interesting performances, especially in two people that we now mostly know for comedy.
Yeah.
To come in and do leading roles in this very tense kind of dramatic thriller.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was cool to see, especially Steve Carell with all his makeup and everything.
Oh, all the prosthetics on there. He looked gross. Yeah.
And so like performances were really good, but it is slow, and I just didn't find the most amount of interest for it.
No, this is one where I couldn't help but just glance at my phone, especially the further in we got. It never really picks up pace at any point, and I kind of felt like I'm going to give this some runway because it's a beautiful movie.
Definitely.
I love Mark Ruffalo in this.
Yep.
I didn't recognize it was him till like embarrassingly long into the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I didn't know who was in it before other than Steve Carell, and like with the shaven head, and the guy is cut like a piece of wood. He is thickums. So I didn't recognize him at first. He had a really good performance. I really loved him in this. But like the story is just thin and long, not very exciting, and they don't bother making it. They don't, juice it up a little bit.
Yeah.
There's like maybe 2 moments of like actual tension in the movie for the most part, other than just like some emotional bits of Channing Tatum's not doing great, but it's not like stressful. It doesn't hold you in suspense.
Not really.
No. So it's a slow moving movie, but like when we got further in, it is a really well directed movie. It's a really well like shot movie. I liked the score for it quite a bit.
Yep.
But there's just not enough going on.
Yeah. That's the thing, is it is definitely a well crafted movie. It's just the substance of it isn't very fulfilling.
No, this is all flash, no flavor.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I have the plot summary here. If we just want to dive into that real quick.
Let's dive into that real quick.
Right. So this is based on a true story, as far as I know. It's not like based on a book or anything, and I don't know what kind of liberties they took.
I looked it up. Not much.
Not much.
Not many liberties. Also, the movie's not that exciting. I could see this entire thing being true. And from what I could see, it's not like I did a deep dive into this.
Yeah.
But like overwhelmingly, everything that happened. Maybe not the exact way it was depicted, but all the events that happened did occur in some manner.
Cool. Well, I'm glad that they went pretty close.
Yeah.
Even if it meant that the movie was kind of slow.
Yeah. You can vary from that. You can.
Yeah.
You can jazz it up a little bit.
All right. Well, in 1987, Olympic wrestling champion Mark Schultz, which is Channing Tatum, speaks at an elementary school in place of his older brother, Dave. Both are Olympic gold medal winners in 1984, but Mark feels overshadowed by Dave. Mark is contacted by philanthropist and wrestling enthusiast Johnny du Pont, an heir to the E.I. du Pont family fortune, who arranges to fly Mark to his estate in Pennsylvania, where du Pont has built a private wrestling training facility. Du Pont invites Mark to join his wrestling team, Team Foxcatcher, to be paid to train for the World Championship. Mark accepts the offer, with Du Pont urging him to enlist Dave as well. Dave declines for the sake of his wife and 2 children who are settled where they live, so Mark moves to Pennsylvania alone. Mark stays in the homey guest house called the Chalet and is greeted there later in the night by du Pont. Through training with his new teammates and du Pont's financial support, Mark excels with Foxcatcher, winning a gold medal at the 1987 World Wrestling Championships. Du Pont praises him and they develop a friendship. Du Pont introduces Mark to cocaine, which he starts to use regularly. He confides in Mark, whom he now calls a true friend, telling him how his mother, Jean du Pont, paid a boy to act as his friend. Oof.
That is sad. Also, when they did cocaine in that helicopter, I really thought that would be a bigger storyline in the movie.
Definitely.
But you never see them do cocaine again.
No, well, I mean, you do.
For the most, do you?
Yeah, you do. Because like there's a brief phase. This is another like kind of flash in the pan sort of phase. Right after he does cocaine where he bleaches his hair and he's being lazy. He's not doing a lot of wrestling and his brother starts to get worried about him. And then I think once that sort of breaks, once du Pont brings Dave into the picture without Mark's consent, because at this point now Mark thinks he doesn't need Dave, then he gives up cocaine and starts doing his own thing again.
I guess that's fair. I just didn't see a lot of cocaine usage in that because to me, that's not really an effect of using cocaine. And that was more him just being lazy because he wasn't as motivated to do things that like his brother's more strict control in there. But I guess it's probably a little bit, a little A, a little B.
Yeah.
Definitely a little bong on the table and those potheads.
And also that haircut, awful.
Awful. Oh God, that was bad. I do not want to see Channing Tatum with that bleach blonde hair ever again. You shave that off, you son of a bitch.
So John du Pont organizes and funds an over 50 Masters wrestling tournament, which he wins after his opponent is paid to lose in the final match. Such a du Pont thing to do.
Such a du Pont thing to do. Oh, classic du Pont.
However, du Pont's mother tells her son that she believes wrestling is a, quote, low sport and does not like seeing him being low. One day, Mark and his teammates in Foxcatcher take the morning off from training to watch a mixed martial arts match on TV. Angered by this, as well as Mark's bitter refusal to be in his brother's presence in Team Foxcatcher, John slaps Mark and berates him, saying that he will enlist Dave by any means necessary, while also demanding that Mark work out his differences with his brother as soon as possible.
I love how the any means necessary is just more money than before.
Basically. Yeah.
Even though basically in the first time around it was offered like name your price.
Yeah.
But I think at that point, Mark didn't really want Dave there because he offers it. And once Dave says no, I think Mark can kind of see, okay, this is my thing now. This can be my whole world to operate in.
Yeah, and it's his way of kind of breaking out of Dave's shadow too, because that is set up early in the beginning that he feels like he is under Dave in some capacity. And so when this, rich man takes an interest in him and wants him to be part of this team and he starts to excel and he's doing it on his own, he feels like he doesn't need Dave anymore.
Yeah.
And so when du Pont still wants Dave so badly, he feels betrayed by him, which we'll get to. But it does make sense why he would be so angry about it.
Yeah, I get that. Getting a little undermined by millions of dollars probably. I got to imagine it was a lot of money. It was a lot more than the 25,000 that.
Yeah.
Was it, or was it 50,000?
No, it was 25,000.
It was 20. Yeah, it was an embarrassingly low amount of money. When someone gives you a blank check and you stop at 5 digits.
Oh man, that
messed
was
up.
Even Dave in that moment when Channing Tatum tells him, he's like, he said name my price, so I said 25,000. This is the biggest number I could think of. I was like, oh man, Mark Ruffalo, you can see it on his face too. He's like, that was the biggest number you could think.
Sweet summer child.
So Dave decides to move with his family to Pennsylvania so he can join Foxcatcher. With his self-esteem damaged by du Pont, Mark decides to work and train alone, pushing away both John and Dave. As Foxcatcher prepares to enter the preliminaries of the 1988 Summer Olympics in Seoul, John's mother is escorted into his gym to watch him coach his team. John du Pont awkwardly demonstrates basic maneuvers for her and the other wrestlers. Oh man, this was sad.
Oh god, this actually had massive stripes of Michael Scott.
Yeah,
this was the most Michael Scott scene that Steve Carell had in this.
Yeah,
when like basically that's his character. He's to make himself look big is going to explain dumb low level shit in front of his mom.
And it's so funny because you're right. You could take that scene into an Office episode and put it in a completely comedic context.
Oh, yeah.
And it would be hilarious.
Yeah.
But because it's in this dramatic thriller sense, it feels like tense, but it's so awkward. Yeah.
Yeah. You feel like you're watching some kid have a friend be paid for to hang out with him.
So his mother leaves in disgust after seeing him give his back to his student. At the 1988 Olympic trials in Pensacola, Florida, Mark performs poorly, losing in his first match. Angered by his failure, Mark destroys his room and goes on an eating binge before Dave manages to break into his room and is alarmed by his brother's condition. This was a tough bit to watch.
Yeah, this was really hard and disappointing to watch.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like the amount of food he got was more than $25,000, especially with that hotel room service.
Oh my God.
Ooh, that's a bill.
Yeah, but Channing Tatum in this scene too. Very good.
Feel like shit.
Yeah.
Also, it was kind of unnerving seeing him hit himself because there's a couple times in the movie where he hits his face, and at one point it's like it's fingertips on his cheekbone, and you can hear the clicking of the fingertips on the cheekbone.
Yep.
Oh, it was like nails on chalkboard. It was hard to listen to.
And I don't want to undermine your facts or anything, but with this bit with the mirror, did you read anything about this?
No, there's no mirror facts included.
So that was just an improvised bit.
Doesn't shock me.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, he actually just threw his head into the mirror, which is why he then has cuts in the thing later on.
Oh, yeah. Not surprising.
Yeah.
When they did that and the pieces actually stuck to his head, I thought like, oh, that motherfucker did that.
Yeah.
Oh, he actually slammed down with the mirror.
Yeah, and he went in. Like
he went in on it.
Thrust himself into that wall.
Which I don't know if he was just so committed that he didn't care what happened afterwards.
Yeah.
But like, that's Cut City, my guy.
Yeah. He was worked up, which is really cool to see for Channing Tatum because you don't really see that much of him like that.
Yeah.
But
also, 2014, rough year to be a mirror.
I was just thinking that.
Don't be a mirror near a main actor, 2014.
Yeah. So Dave and Mark work feverishly so Mark can lose his weight and get back into the weight class. As Mark exercises, John du Pont arrives and attempts to speak with Mark, but Dave turns John away. Mark competes well enough to win his match and make the Olympic team. Dave notices that du Pont is absent, learning that he left for Pennsylvania after being told that his mother died.
In that scene when Dave's talking to John du Pont to kind of keep him away from Mark, why was that muted?
Yeah.
Because that was like the only real emotional, like, because they mentioned later that he had an awkward moment with John du Pont. And you can see like in the interaction that like John du Pont wants to see how Mark's doing, but Dave's keeping him out for his own best interest. Like that could have been the most conflict in the entire movie, and it was quiet, which is clearly an artistic choice.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, come on, man, give us something exciting here.
After returning to the estate, Mark tells Dave, quote, "You and I both know that I can't stay at Foxcatcher once the Olympics are over," and asks Dave to leave with him. A documentary funded by John about his exploits with Team Foxcatcher is made, during which Dave is asked to praise him as a coach and a mentor. He reluctantly does so. Oh my God.
I love how he wasn't even against the idea. He just had he could not think of a way to do it. He was so not a mentor to this guy.
Yeah. And you could see him like trying to craft ways around saying that before like the guy just bluntly said, just say that he's your mentor.
Yeah.
And he even tries to be like, he's kind of a mentor to me.
Yeah.
And then eventually regresses to John du Pont is a mentor to me.
He drops it robot style.
Yeah.
What I love is looking up things about his life. He just made documentaries about himself.
Oh, of course.
This was just a reoccurring theme that he did.
Yeah.
And this is just one more entry in the long line of that. But also, this could also be dropped into The Office directly.
Yeah. Yeah, watching back his own documentary about himself. Oh
yeah.
My God.
I feel like even though this is a tragic story overall, there's a really good comedy in here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So Mark loses his matches in Seoul, after which he leaves Team Foxcatcher, something we don't really see.
Again, could have been a big emotional moment in the movie.
Yeah.
But all we see is the drive back, and then he loads the stuff in a U-Haul and U-Hauls it out of there.
Yeah, which I don't know if you read this in like kind of some of their bios, but apparently he threw this match too.
Oh, no, I didn't see it. It makes sense. He didn't want to be there. He wanted to leave Foxcatcher as fast as he could. So
yeah, and I don't think he wanted like John to get more medals. I think he probably knew that it meant more to John to get the medal than it meant for him to win.
Yeah.
So like this was definitely a slap in the face to John, even though he didn't win
just as much. Yeah, he also wanted that gold more than anyone.
Yeah, and so like when I read that in the Wikipedia page, and then it didn't show that in the movie, I was like, that's like kind of a big decision.
Yeah. And you can even work that in to still be a boring style like the rest of the movie. But like that's really interesting to know and kind of changes how I thought of it. Because I just thought, well, he's clearly not in the right headspace. You know he's not going to do well when he goes there anyways because he's playing like trash.
Yeah.
But to know that he intentionally threw it would have changed that a little bit.
Yeah, but no. And I get that the movie's not necessarily about the wrestling.
No.
But it would have been nice to have more wrestling moments.
Yeah, this could have been so much cooler if they had more wrestling and like kind of introduced it to the audience. Because I didn't really know what was happening for most of it. I don't know much about wrestling at all.
Neither.
And they just kind of had some scenes where they kind of explained things, but they did it in a way where it's someone who knows wrestling is talking to someone who knows wrestling.
Yeah.
Someone's like, just drive out with your hips. I don't know what that means. I use my hands to drive. I've never done it with my hips before.
Yeah, and like I liked the scenes that they did where it was just like Channing Tatum and Mark Ruffalo in their training room. Like early on, they were just like doing some wrestling. You could tell that Channing Tatum was getting more and more frustrated with Dave as he was going through this, and so that would have been interesting to see.
Yeah, like
in
really,
an actual match.
And also, wrestling is fun. Yeah. And this movie could have used a little more fun in it. It just show us some more matches. And every time they did show a match, they showed the conclusion of it and the last couple seconds. It wouldn't have hurt having an entire wrestling match in there, or even the majority of a quicker match.
Yep. Especially the last match at Seoul,
when they show like none of it.
No. Yeah, it's weird how like they quickly go from, oh, I guess he's on the Olympic team to, I guess we're done. Like we're not done doing any more wrestling.
Now he's off the Olympic team.
So yeah, we said Mark loses his matches in Seoul. He leaves Team Foxcatcher. Dave continues to live at John's estate to train with Foxcatcher. As a condition for his remaining, he negotiates an arrangement with du Pont to continue to support Mark financially even after Mark is gone, just as long as Dave continues to stay there. Absolute bro move.
I know. What a guy. He now really can't leave without having a massive pile of guilt put on him. Yeah. So he really takes L after L for his little brother. Mm-hmm. But it's just who Dave is. A great guy who I'm sure will only have good things coming to him as a result.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny too, because he seems to be the only one that can really kind of deal with du Pont in like a respectful sense. Mm-hmm. Like he allows him to do his thing when his mother's around, you know, he indulges him in some ways, but he's still respectful to him to a degree. And whereas I don't think Mark could handle that anymore.
God, no, he was so done with it.
Yeah.
But Dave's just the backbone of this. He has a great shoulder, great heads on his great shoulders, on his great everything else. Mm-hmm. Well, that's why like Team USA was tapping him to be a coach, because this guy's got the knowledge and the skill set for more than just being the wrestler.
Mm-hmm. And I think he saw that like with the support they were getting from du Pont, even though du Pont wanted to be, you know, so involved or whatever, he could build a very successful wrestling team because of all that financial support. But yeah. Anyways, we'll get into the last bit here. So later, John is seen sitting alone in his mansion trophy room, watching the documentary about Team Foxcatcher, which ends with Mark complimenting him at a ceremony depicted earlier. John calls his bodyguard and drives to Dave's home, where he finds him in the driveway working on his car radio. As Dave approaches John's car to greet him, John pulls a gun on him, asks him if he has a problem with him before shooting him 3 times and driving away. Dave's wife, Nancy, runs out to her husband, who dies in her arms. Setting a trap for Dave at his home, the police ambush and arrest him, and the film ends showing Mark as he competes in a cage fighting match with the crowd cheering, ringing in his head. The end.
And I think the ending is kind of where it strays from reality the most.
Yeah.
The way he died is accurate, but it's a lot to do with schizophrenia by John du Pont, who thinks that Dave is a Russian agent who's going to kill him. It has a lot more to do with psychosis than a sense of particular betrayal.
That I did not know.
Yeah. I mean, when you're telling the story of Foxcatcher, that kind of muddies it a little bit because this makes it seem like it was more of a personal vendetta against Dave than it really might have been, because he clearly wasn't fully grasping what was going on.
Right.
And he's had a pretty long history of not fully grasping what's going on.
Yeah.
But he was sane enough that they still found him criminally guilty because they tried to plead that he was insane.
Yeah.
And they said, not insane enough. Not insane in the membrane, baby.
Did that moment surprise you at all when he killed him? Because it does kind of come out of nowhere if you're not like expecting it.
Yeah. But. So the one thing that I really regret is when I started doing my research was kind of when I was getting bored of the movie, which was
yeah.
Probably about 3/4 of the way through, it started getting like a little slow. After the scene with Channing Tatum making the cut, I kind of started checking it a little bit. It's like, well, I'm going to look up to see how much this is accurate. Oh, he kills him. Oh, damn it. Now that's kind of spoiled. But really, like the way that it's portrayed, it's at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
The movie's kind of done at that point anyway, so I don't think that reveal would have really made me 180 on my opinion of it. It's still a slow burn.
Yeah.
It takes its sweet time, and it just kind of gets to where it was going the whole way.
Yeah. And it is a weird place to kind of end the movie too. Like it's a somber note, and obviously it's the true event. But then like, what was the movie really building to? Was it building to that? Because it didn't feel like it was building to that.
No, because it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
No one who didn't already know what was going to happen is going to expect that happens.
Yeah, because John has not shown like that he was that violent towards people.
No, he'd never really. The most violent thing he had done is a slap.
Yeah.
And it was at a time when like his temper would be at an all-time high.
Yeah.
And he slapped a guy. Otherwise, he's been like pretty reserved.
Yeah, I honestly forgot. And it's funny that you mentioned that you were spoiled because you were looking at Wikipedia during the movie, because I also got bored during the movie and went back to Wikipedia to look up some facts about these two. And I saw that same thing. I was like, oh, right. He kills him.
Yeah.
And I had totally forgotten, which, you know, I guess is a testament to this movie's memorability. But
yeah. And it's really a shame because this is such a well-crafted movie.
Definitely.
That it just like, there's so many elements where you could have cranked up the entertainment value. Like you have a good basis of wrestling. There's not that many movies made about wrestling in the grand scheme of things.
No.
Especially when you're just kind of using it to tell a greater true story. You got a lot of room to play with in there.
Yeah.
You got a whole mat to wrestle on. But they kind of just like cut away all the fun bits.
Yeah, especially this type of wrestling, like Olympic wrestling and this sort of thing. Like, you know, MMA and cage match wrestling sort of stuff.
UFC
They got
kind of
movies about that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and it still is kind of a popular sport to make a movie about. But this type of wrestling hasn't really had, at least to my knowledge, that many good movies or that many movies in general. And so this was a great chance to like showcase the sport as well as showcase this terrible event that happened and this like between these three people. But it just kind of shied away from the actual wrestling of it. But again, that's probably not the point of the movie.
No.
But it just would have been nice to see. Would have energized it a little bit more, I think.
It would have been nice if the movie had a point.
Yeah. Because like you said, like there's so much competency in here. Like the acting is phenomenal.
So
like,
good.
It's well directed, clearly, and it's beautifully shot. It's just that the story wasn't the most, you know, great. It wasn't the best. Yeah.
This could have been a documentary. They could have just fully, like, especially if they made a documentary with this production level.
Yeah.
And just gave it more, like, dove into the fact side of it. Like, maybe that could have been a better product than what it was. But I don't know if it works as well that way either, because that changes the whole layout. But I just feel like it didn't go enough in the movie direction that I really enjoyed watching it, which is a shame because I had fun in the environment. It just kind of seeing the visuals and everything was really cool, but I just kept checking out and going on my phone and looking up the real story.
And it was a really cool opportunity with Steve Carell and Channing Tatum, especially Steve Carell, who is kind of like the highlight of this movie, at least what they wanted the highlight to be, because he is going so out there from what he's usually done before into a very, very dramatic role. And he does succeed. Like he does a really good job.
Absolutely. He apparently like really captures John du Pont and is actually like a really good case study of him.
Oh, cool. Yeah. What did you think of Mark Ruffalo in this movie?
I love him. Mark Ruffalo in this movie. He was my favorite character.
Yeah.
I really love Dave in this.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I didn't like scenes without Dave in them at the end. I wanted more Dave. He's just such a good character. Like just a sweet, loving dad.
Yeah.
He doesn't do wrong.
No.
He takes care of his brother.
Yeah.
He manages John du Pont really well. he's just a solid dude.
I like the scene too where he comes into Channing Tatum's room and sees just the fucking destruction and just shitstorm that he's laid through there. And he does slap him and he's like gives him like kind of a stern look, but then he comforts him after.
Yeah.
And it's like, because that's what he needed probably. He needed like a stern look and then also some support after. But
yeah, because he comes in and he's mad. Yeah. But you know that as soon as he gets over the anger, he knows that Mark needs support more than anything else. Like he just needs someone in his corner to help him. Yeah. Because he tried to do it on his own and not have anyone there. And it went catastrophically bad. And now he just needs that support no matter how much he says he doesn't want it.
Yeah. He's also got such a vibe.
He does have such a vibe.
Got such a vibe. I don't know what it is.
I think it's the hairline. I really think it's the hairline they gave him.
I like his big ass glasses too.
I know. He looked like a computer tech guy who just got too shredded by accident. He just got Hulkanized and now he's just some absolute monstrosity on the wrestling mat.
All right. Well, do you want to move on to the critics and audiences parts of this?
Let's do that. What do you think that those funny folk gave this movie?
Yeah, I think critics is like mid 80s, 85 probably. Audiences, I'm going to say mid to low 70s, like 72.
Slightly more polarizing than you think.
Oh, really?
Critics, 87.
Okay.
They enjoyed it. They were there for it. Audiences, not as much at 66.
Oh, okay.
I think a lot of them probably fell asleep or started looking things up. I bet you.
Yeah, probably.
I'm curious at what time the peak is for people going to the Wikipedia page while watching the movie. How far into people get before they just look up the story out of curiosity because it's probably more exciting than what's going on there.
Well, especially because of how quickly you will find the actual answer to the end of this story, the core end of this story. It doesn't necessarily have the most amount of bulk there. So,
no, it's kind of a 2-paragraph hitter before you get to the murder. IMDb gave it a 7, Metacritic an 81.
Oh, wow. So critics were quite high on this.
Yeah. Again, it is a masterfully made movie.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of with the audiences there. There's just nothing to grasp onto you.
Definitely.
There's also not much grabbing on in the box office. Made $19 million on a budget of $24 million. You normally want the first number to be higher.
Oh, man. That's rough.
That is a Mark Ruffalo right there. Ooh, and it got Mark Ruffalo at the box office that year at number 174.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And it actually had like a good draw of a cast too, you know?
It had a good cast. It had a good award drawing too. It had a number of nominations.
Yeah.
But no one wanted to see it. And I think if I had watched that movie and someone had asked me like, hey man, should I go watch that? It's probably like a 40-60 if I'm going to tell you to watch it or not.
Yeah.
If I know that you are really into movies and enjoy the craft of it, I'd tell you yes, but warn you it's boring.
Yeah.
And if you were someone who I thought wanted like a more fun, exciting movie, I'd probably tell you to watch something else.
Yeah, probably.
But now it's time for the most important rankings of all, ours. Kyle, what would you give this for your enjoyment?
I think I'm going like 2.5.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think it can get past 3 at all. And it was like, I was just kind of coasting on the enjoyment. Like, if any movie where you're prompted to look at your phone is not an enjoyable experience for me.
It's really not. I'm also going to go 2.5.
Yeah.
I was thinking of giving it a 2, but I can't do that to Mark Ruffalo. He went so hard for you and I can't give that a 2.
Nope.
For the craft, I think this will probably make up some room here. What would you give it?
Definitely. I think I'm actually going 4.5.
Yeah, solid.
Like the makeup work on Steve Carell, unreal.
Yeah.
The cinematography is like beautiful.
Oh, it's gangbusters.
Just the overall filmmaking behind this movie is rock solid, which is like expected from a filmmaker who made those 2 great movies. He's made other movies, but the Capote and Moneyball leading up to this were like really great and also award draw movies too. So something you would expect, but would it be?
I can't believe he made a movie about wrestling be more boring than a movie about baseball statistics. That's shocking. That's not easy to do.
Right?
I'm going to give it a 5 for craft.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I was really impressed by a lot that was going on. The performances, the makeup, the visuals in general. I really like the score. I was really happy with a lot of the sounds going on because I could always hear the movie even though I was looking at my phone.
Yeah, it also makes selective use of the score. There are like long periods of just silence, which works really well for some of the tension. But yeah, then when the score does come in, it does work really well.
Yeah, and that's going to be the peak of the movie, so I'm okay with that 5. Execution, what are you thinking?
Yeah, the trouble is the acting is like phenomenal, but the writing, the writing is good, but it's just the story behind it isn't the best. So I feel like I'm landing kind of at like a 3.5.
I'm thinking straight 3.
Yeah,
that's where I'm going to go with this. So do you want to go with 3.5?
I'm happy with 3.5. Yeah,
I think that's fair. I would go 3.5, but I'm a little peeved that they wasted the performances to a degree. While they were still good enough that they were highly regarded and rewarded for how good the performances were. God, this movie could have been better.
Definitely,
Oh man, if they had just made a hook to it. Rewatchability.
No. I'm going to go like 1.5.
Yep.
I cannot think of a time where I would ever watch this movie again, especially now that we are doing this movie for the podcast. There was no excuse for me to watch this movie ever again. I can't imagine ever thinking, we should watch Foxcatcher.
Yeah, I'm also going to go 1.5. I think there exists a realm of movie that I want to rewatch even less, but it's hard to do. There's only a small amount of wiggle room left there. All right, Kyle, you are going to give this a 12 out of 20 for a 60%. I, on the other hand, am going to give this a 12 out of 20 for 60%. So we, slight deviation, but we had the same experience with this movie.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
All right, ranking time. I'll give you yours. Right now is Interstellar, Gone Girl, Nightcrawler, Lego, John Wick, Boyhood, Big Hero 6, American Sniper. Where is this falling in there?
Oof. Well, it's not in the anywhere near Boyhood territory, which means it's in the bottom two area. But is it better than American Sniper? I'm going to say no. I'm going to go bottom, last place.
I'm with you. I don't know on which side of American Sniper that I'm going to put this on because there are really good elements and there's so much of this movie that I don't want to put at the bottom, but there's so much of this movie that deserves to be at the bottom. So I think I'm going to make a compromise and put it just above American Sniper, but I think it and American Sniper are going to be riding the pipe down for quite a while.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think these ones are like, they are good in some elements, but other elements are just so bad that it drags it down. Like so much of this movie, I don't want to put this lowly because I really enjoyed a lot of aspects of it, but I couldn't do the full package.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
This one doesn't have a rubber baby, so it's got that going for it, which is nice.
There's no goof value going. There's just absolutely no goofiness.
Yeah. Fuck. You know what? I'm thinking about it more. I think I'm going above American Sniper too.
Yeah.
I had to give a little bit of a think about what American Sniper was doing better than this one, and I don't actually think it's doing much better.
No, and I think Foxcatcher has higher highs. It just also has no excitement factor whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, you want up some Letterboxd reviews?
Oh.
Okay. It's a 3.5 out of 5. I'll start you off there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's I think what I gave it on Letterboxd, actually.
All right. This is Feet Dante from the DMC series, which I believe we featured before in reviews. 3.5 stars. They ain't even catch any foxes. And that'll conclude the funny Letterboxd reviews for Foxcatcher. I went through a lot of pages and it was only essays, none of them funny.
Oh, no.
There was, I mean, if you want to make Foxcatcher seem more enjoyable in comparison, you can read people's reviews of it. They find a way to make it even drier.
Oh, no.
Otherwise,
that sucks.
Yeah. For the award detail, what do you think this could get some looks for? I think you got a good beat on it.
Performance-wise, somebody, maybe a couple people. I really liked Channing Tatum in this, but I don't know if he was the one.
It wasn't him.
Oh, okay.
Which kind of leaves two other actors who were mostly in the movie.
Yeah. Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, yeah.
Supporting actor.
Oh, baby.
Steve Carell.
Oh, baby.
Really? Oh,
yeah, both got noms.
Was he lead or supporting?
He was lead.
That feels interesting.
It feels wrong. I feel like Channing Tatum was the lead.
Yep.
But like it was kind of the three of them enough that I think they wanted to give both of them a nomination. And this probably makes the most sense to do that in.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you can just have multiple supporting. I don't know what they did here. What else do you think this got?
Geez, I don't know. Cinematography?
No.
Oh.
Oddly enough.
Editing, maybe?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'll feed you here.
Okay, yeah.
Best director for Bennett Miller.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Best original screenplay for E. Max Fry and Dan Futterman.
Okay.
And best makeup and hairstyling for Bill Corso and Dan Lydiard. That makes sense because of what they did to Steve Carell.
Mm-hmm.
They made a beautiful man ugly. For that, they got an award nomination.
Wow, good for them.
Yeah.
Did they win?
Nope.
Nothing?
This won nothing. So 5 noms, no wins. It did win some things, in quotations. This got Best Director for Bennett Miller at the 2014 Cannes Film Festival.
Interesting.
And that's kind of it.
Oh.
So this was a movie that got some cred for the directing, mostly. Some cred for the acting, but nothing really major. I think like the Academy Awards is probably where it did best with 5 nominations.
Yeah.
Well, they want to dive into some fun and interesting facts, the best of both worlds.
Hit me with them fun and also interesting facts.
All right. This is one of those movies where everyone was a dick to each other on set and they kept doing like making everyone hate each other. So it's one of those fun ones where everyone inflicted psychological damage on each other. So we got some ammo in the fun facts.
Really getting into character then, I guess.
Yep. Steve Carell claimed that, according to director Bennett Miller's wishes, there was no joking between takes and he did not socialize with the co-stars after work. Mark Ruffalo said the cast and crew were so afraid of Steve Carell as John du Pont that they tried to avoid interacting with him. Ruffalo said, everyone sort of stayed away from him. John du Pont was so repellent, so the way they designed Steve's look, it made him repellent, and you didn't know what to say to him or how to act around him. You never felt comfortable.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the makeup, I guess. And
no kidding.
Some directing choices, which, you know, they're no fun, but
yep.
I guess it paid off for the performance.
And those acting or directing choices, they got less fun.
Oh, no.
According to Channing Tatum, he and Mark Ruffalo spent an intensive 5 to 6 months training for wrestling, which took its toll on the actors. During one particularly physical take, Channing insisted to Ruffalo, just slap this shit out of me and get it over with, which resulted in Channing Tatum's eardrum accidentally getting popped. This take is still in the film.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Before filming a particularly dark scene, Bennett Miller made Steve Carell write on a piece of paper the thing that he hates the most about himself and then put it in his pocket. Miller told Carell, just have it right there and know that it's in a place where if I was a dick, I could just grab it. According to Miller, this result is the favorite thing he's ever put on film.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what scene it is, though. It just says for a dark scene. I don't think it was the murder scene. It didn't seem like that blow me away. Like, he didn't seem vulnerable in that.
Maybe one of the scenes with his mother when she's kind of like condescending to him.
Oh, maybe. When it,
talking down on him.
When she's being a dick about his paid for win.
Yeah.
Maybe. Steve Carell and Channing Tatum ad-libbed their dialogue in the helicopter scene. That's kind of fun.
Maybe ad-libbed the cocaine prompt.
What I like is that was the only moment in the movie where there was like a laugh, where any fun was had was those two kind of just like tripping over that line.
Yeah.
And of course, it was the only thing that was ad-libbed in the movie too.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So, and lastly, David Doc Bennett, who shot documentaries for John du Pont, plays himself in the movie. So that dude who's making the documentary, that was his real life documentarian.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, that's what I got for fun facts. I think there's probably more along the lines that everyone was having a rough time psychologically while making it. It's a great movie though. You can't add a result.
Yeah. I mean, you can't deny the result of the directing decisions, which is great performances and a really good look to the movie.
Yeah.
But it does sound strange that these group of actors that usually would probably have a lot of fun on set with each other were just like basically cuckolded from having any fun.
They had no fun.
Yeah.
And neither did the movie. And that's my final thought on this. Kyle, what's yours?
That's like straight up the entire thought. Yeah. This movie is no fun.
Nope.
But nice to look at. And definitely some shining moments, but not a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys for listening to Season 2, Episode 9 of Snubs and Dubs. As always, you can find us everywhere on social media at Snubs and Dubs. That's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Letterboxd, etc. We're also on Good Pods, so make sure to check us out there and join our official Discord. We'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on Foxcatcher or on this episode, so please send us a tweet or a message with a question, recommendation, or anything else. I'm also at Kyle Tobiasson on Twitter, and Jason is at Wendy_Mills. Of course, all of those links are in the show notes. Make sure to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Share the show to everyone you know, and check back next week for another episode. Here's a sneak peek of the film we're going to talk about.
Why do you want to be a lobby boy?
Who wouldn't? At the Grand Budapest, sir.
And so my life began. Junior lobby boy in training under the strict command of Monsieur Gustave H. Many of the hotel's most valued and distinguished guests came for him.
I love you.
I love you. She was dynamite in the sack, by the way.
She was 84.
I've had older.
This was also when I met Agatha.
She's charming. She's so charming.
Is he flirting with you?
Yes.
I approve of this union.
I became his pupil, and he was to be my counselor and guardian.
The police are here.
Tell them I'll be right down.
Well, we went from no fun to probably the most fun. Next time, we're talking about the third nominee for Best Picture at the 87th Academy Awards and the second appearance Wes Anderson has made in a Snubs and Dubs season.
Wow.
That is the Grand Budapest Hotel. Budapest?
I think it's
Who knows?
correctly Budapest.
Yeah.
But
Let's just be incorrect. Yeah. All right. So make sure to watch it before next episode. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. Thanks for listening. That's a wrap. Bye.
bye for now.